I used to dread counting calories as the way to lose weight because I didn't want to count calories for the rest of my life to maintain successfully. Trying to avoid it led me to torture myself with alternatives like intermittent fasting, paleo, and so many extreme methods. What I was missing was the interplay between my actions, aka my calorie target, my physiology, and my psychology. Once I understood how to get all three of these aligned, I started developing what our intuitive eating friends call the ability to listen to my body's signals and stop without an app telling me when to stop. And for the past 8 years, I have used intuitive eating to maintain, even though what got me to my goal size involved calorie counting. I've tested the same framework on hundreds of my Badass Body Boss students who have experienced the same evolution. But before I reveal it, you must first be able to recognize what wrong interplay looks like. For me, it all started after a brief stint on a starvation diet. I discovered calorie counting and, of course, MyFitnessPal. Their site proudly proclaimed learn, track, improve, music to my years as an engineer. I excitedly downloaded the app, punched in my goal to lose weight, reluctantly chose not very active, entered my stats, again reluctantly went with the recommendation to only lose 1 pound per week, and was presented with the target of 1200 calories per day. Cool! I mean, I had no idea what that meant, but let's do this. I tried logging my oatmeal only to get stumped by the various measurement. What's a cup? Doing a quick search led me to discover the world of measuring cups and spoons. Growing up, my mom cooked with the panache of an expressionist artist, so I had literally never seen this in real life. Figuring I'm no expert, I immediately ordered a set. Next, I logged my pasta marinara for lunch only to be baffled by calories ranging from 60 to 150 calories for the same serving size. After a few seconds of staring, a light bulb went off, and I realized I should enter my exact recipe, and heaved a sigh of relief when it gave me a clear-cut 400 calories. Later, coworkers invited me to donuts at the kitchen. I checked my dash, realized it wouldn't fit my calories, and said no. I felt confident I was on track, and my confidence was rewarded when later that week I stepped onto the scale and saw a whopping 3-pound drop. Heck yeah! Those first few weeks I felt like freaking Neo, seeing the Matrix for the first time, stopping calorie bullets with a casual flex of my hand, fighting off temptations with detached confidence. This weight loss stuff felt easy. Calories in, calories out, right? What's the big deal? And then I got invited to a party for the first time since I had started counting calories. I decided on the classic save calorie strategy and ate a bare minimum of 300 calories before the thankfully early 4 p.m. party. I got to the restaurant and promptly had a finger foods tray shoved in my face. Yes, please. I don't even know how many of those mini burgers and quiches I had. I had a fabulous time until I got home and tried logging everything I had eaten. When I first punched in my main dinner entree, pasta marinara, MyFitnessPal dutifully showed me 300 calories like usual, but this was takeout. That felt way too low. I also spent an hour trying to remember all the random bites I'd had before finally giving up and adding a 600 calorie buffer, which of course put me in the red for the week. I couldn't help but feel this dinner party had ruined my perfect food diary, and now I had no clue how my weigh-in would go. To make up for it, I decided to eat 1,000 calories for the next 4 days. In reality, I lasted 2 days on it before throwing in the towel for the week by eating whatever I wanted, thinking I will start fresh next week. When the new week came along, that first day I didn't feel like doing all the work to count calories again. So I dragged my feet for many days, maybe weeks, I don't remember exactly, but it was a while. That is until I stepped onto the scale one day and saw I had regained everything I lost and 3 pounds more. Panicked. My resistance to calorie counting crumbled. But this time around, I didn't feel like Neo. It started bugging me that I had to weigh each ingredient in a recipe, one by one. Even when I was having a previous recipe, but with a few ingredients changed, I'd sit there in front of my plate with the food getting cold while I adjusted things in MyFitnessPal, while everyone else around me was already digging into their food. And worse, when it wasn't my turn to cook, I'd hound my roommates to send me the recipes they used and then interrogate them on each ingredient to make sure they hadn't changed anything. Yeah, that didn't make me popular with my roommates. I also learned my lesson from that first party. I'd spend hours looking at restaurant menus to decide beforehand what I was going to have. And then when at the party, spend half the time at war with myself, resisting foods I had ruled out. I was so tired of the whole process, of looking up nutrition labels so many times a day, of being so careful about what to eat and what not to eat. Like, I really just wanted to have a milkshake that's half my calories for the day and not think about it, you know? Then 2 months in, my mental exhaustion got a friend. Physical exhaustion. I started feeling really hungry and lethargic. I'd have had lunch 2 hours ago, but here I was, hungry again. But I'd force myself to sit and wait for another 2 hours for my allotted snack time. The breaking point came when I went on vacation. I stopped tracking and regained everything I had lost and more. Unlike the last time, I didn't plan to jump back into trying to lose weight. I took a long break instead. And then one day when I felt like I had the energy to try again, I can't remember when, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was New Year's, I decided counting calories wasn't for me. So I was gonna try again, but this time use a method that didn't require counting anything. Nutritionists were my first stop, who promptly gave me a list of salads, soups, and a variety of nutritious dishes. But I come from an Asian background. If the 90s food pyramid was made in Asia, the foundation would be rice, roti, and noodles. I did give it a shot, but it was a foregone failure from the start. Then I started intermittent fasting, which quickly didn't last because, hello, I was in my 20s, the night starts at 10 p.m., and so does the end of my willpower. And then finally I decided on classic math. More exercise, more food. Yeah, that didn't work. I'm pretty sure I didn't just not lose weight, I ended up gaining weight. It was hard to admit that the most successful thing for me had been calorie counting, because I didn't want to live like that, nickel and diming my food. I didn't want to spend the rest of my life weighing every ingredient, logging every food, perusing a restaurant menu for hours before a party, and hounding others for recipe calories. So I ignored this observation. I kept looking for program after program, until I hit rock bottom. On a flight to Boston, I suddenly felt like I couldn't breathe. Medical checkups saw nothing wrong. This, what felt to me to be a near-death experience, brought a seriousness to losing weight I hadn't had before. I had been operating on deferred happiness, as in I'd enjoy things when I reached my goal. But the weight loss journey itself was something I had to tolerate. Why? Because I wanted to get to my goal fast, and fast requires sacrificing enjoyment. But now that I was faced with the possibility of dying, enjoying the present moment became paramount to me. No goal was worth the loss of present-day enjoyment. The downstream effect of the shift was on my physiology through two things that happened. One, instead of putzing around with more and more programs, I decided to return to the main thing that had worked for me, calorie counting, but with the goal to mold it into being sustainable. Second, since my goal wasn't to lose weight fast anymore, I also went old school, literally. Since the internet was so contradictory and confusing, I went back to what's always worked for me in the past, science, textbooks. And as I dug into the science of calories, I found the whopping 500 calorie deficit MyFitnessPal had given me was not only unnecessary, but was also causing hunger and weight loss stalls quicker than if I had been on a milder deficit. I made my calorie deficit smaller to find my physiology, hunger, energy, sleep, finally far easier to manage. All of this interplayed with my actions on three fronts. One, my focus shifted from being goal-focused, aka I must lose X pounds in Y days, to system-focused, aka if every day I'm moving towards my goal, I am succeeding. This in turn had the effect of my not caring about accuracy anymore. If I log my pasta marinara as 300 calories when maybe in reality it's 500 calories, as long as I am consistent with the inaccuracy, I can correlate that with my weekly progress and adjust my targets accordingly. This lifted a huge mental load off me. And lastly, this theme of consistency over accuracy extended to my meal planning as well. Instead of planning accurately, where I literally have an exact dish to fill up all my calories of the day, I zoomed out into thinking of my day in buckets. Like, here are my breakfast, lunch, dinner buckets and some go-to foods for them at various calorie ranges, but here's a fun bucket to account for any surprises. What makes this the right interplay is that I had already started practicing my dream life while counting calories. I was already practicing the right mindsets, listening to my body's cues, and practicing the right habits so that when it came time to maintain, I simply removed one guardrail at a time and slipped into maintenance. It's been 8 years since I counted anything, and I maintained a 20% body fat all year round. Your exact interplay is going to be different than mine, but attuning them is key to making the transition from calorie counting to intuitive maintenance. This can take a lot of trial and error, so you have two options. One, if you want my help shortcutting through all of the trial and error, then check out the free sneak peek into my Badass Body Boss program in the description and comments below. Or if you want to DIY it, then you don't want to ignore this video where I reveal how I made my exact system for weight loss. I spent years figuring out what a good system for weight loss looks like, and I cover it in detail in this video here. So check it out, and always remember, you can do it.